Howdy y'all. Thank you for joining us today for this playthrough. It's going to be a solo playthrough of Euphoria. In order to have the solo playthrough, we did have to add in the expansion, Ignorance is Bliss. But we're basically going to see if we can build a better dystopia, is what we're trying to do here. I think I got pretty much everything set up. I randomized. I am using the expansion markets. So these are mixed up, and then there were 6 given out randomly. Mixed up the artifacts. It uses the market here, which we'll get into on the play. And then using the recruits from the expansion, I dealt myself 4. These were the 2 I chose not to take. I took this one, which is a factionless recruit, and we'll get to how that works. They're basically more powerful than the regular recruits, but of course they don't help you in securing towards a faction. And then since we're playing against the Automa, it doesn't matter if I show. The other one I chose, it means we're going to try to go for an Icarite recruit. Kind of wish I wouldn't have gotten one of these, but he just sounded too good. And then the others that I drew, one of them just sounded like this one, just weaker. And then the other one I just didn't. Since I haven't played the game before, I didn't really see that it was as effective as the one I chose. So of course went with it. Sorry if this one's going to be a little bit rough, and there may even be some talking that you'll hear in the background, only because I am filming this in shop, and we're not open now, but I got a feeling before I finish this game, we will be opening the shop. So I will be trying to edit out as much as I can and cutting back and forth. And you will see cuts, and like I said, it's going to be because of the shop. And then also a lot of times if I'm thinking, or since this is my first time to play, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of rules lookups I'm going to have to do. So there will be cuts that way because of it. And then also, the first time I play any game solo or on camera really, I'm always still figuring out the shots and the angles. Right now I just chose 2 camera angles. One that's showing you the board, which will be the primary. And then I'm only showing this one so you can see what resources I have and where I'm at on everything. But 2, because we're going to be running the Automa deck. I did already make the Automa deck, mix it up. I have the other 2 off to the side here. And they will be adding in stuff as they go. The Automa only puts down the stars. Since I was factionless, the way they get their guys chosen in a solo game is black keeps drawing a random faction until they get one that's not yours, and then white does the same thing. Normally it'd be 2 factions. Since I'm factionless, I assumed I just treat it like this one, so as long as they didn't come out as Icarite, we're okay. So this part of the board isn't going to be used because with the expansion, they send you your unique board over here that gets put. But yes, so we are going to worker place. And what's going to happen is you'll have these, and so like in this case, I rolled a 1 and a 5. And what these are showing how intelligent your workers are. Your workers, we're going to go with why the intelligence really matters at the moment, because the point is really, they're supposed to be, this is a dystopian world, and they just want dumb workers to just do their jobs and not think outside the box. You are one of those people who have woken up and you have realized that you want to build a better world. So you are using the workers to basically meet your ends. I guess that sounds just as bad as I was saying that, but as what they are doing, but it is what it is. So the lower you roll, the dumber the worker is. And there are 3 factions. Well, there's 4 factions on the board, but there are 3 that are the working class. One of the factions is just the people who live in this golden city, and they basically run on these wheels all day and basically make energy. That's what they produce. And then we got the people who live underground, who are, if you've seen Demolition Man, basically they're thugs and whatnot, but they produce the water and whatnot. And then you have the people who are the wasteland territory, who basically are the farmers. Each of them want what some of the others have. So hence, the wastelanders are building a tunnel to try to steal off some of the energy. The Euphorians here are basically building a tunnel down to get more water from the subterranean, and the subterraneans are building a tunnel up to get more of the food. And that's what these guys are on. Now, I do wish these weren't stickers. If you get the expansion, it adds them on. The base game does not have them here, but you add stickers, and depending on the number of players is where the miner starts already at that point in the game. Another faction you have are the Icarites. The Icarites are up living blissfully, basically off of what these guys are doing. So you see these guys create the electricity, water, food. One of the simplest actions that you could do is to just place a dice on one of these spots, and depending on the number that you put there, tells you what you get. In the case, if I place this 5 here, it is a 5. 1 through 4, I would get a energy, and I would move up 1 on the faction for the Euphorians. 5 through 8, I get an energy, and my guys become 1 dumber. At 9 or more, I get 2 energy, but my guys become more intelligent. What you do when you place the dice there is you place the dice and then add up all the pips for all the dice, no matter what color are there, and that determines what you get from that thing. So that is how you get energy. And they have the same spot down here for the aquifer, just the only difference is it adds to the subterraneans. And they have the same spot up here for the farm, or for the wastelanders, but it just, of course, difference is adds to the wastelanders' allegiance. And then the same here for the cloud mine, for the Icarites, which does the same thing, just adds to. So that's how you get the commodities, is what they're actually called. I was calling them resources, sorry, but they are commodities. Those commodities are then in turn used to get resources. And the way you get the resources is through the tunnels. So once I have a worker, once I have the commodity, I should say, I can place a worker, I spend the commodity, and then the miner moves 1 closer to getting to their end goal. And then I get to choose to take a resource or an artifact. And we're going to talk about the artifact board real fast, because when I get an artifact, I basically get to choose to take this one for free, or it used to be it would be random. Instead, I could choose which one I want. If I want this one, I just get it for free. And then each of these others have a cost, which is a commodity. So if I wanted this one instead, I would just pay a commodity. This one, 1 commodity, this one, 2 commodities, and then I could get them. As moving down the tunnel, if the miner hits one of these spots, any people who have a hidden faction of that type, so in this case Subterranea, Wastelander, or Euphorian, they get to flip it over and get that activated. The only way I've seen, and like I said, I haven't played the game, so maybe there's another way. The only way I've seen that the Icarites get to do it is if their allegiance just gets high enough to do such. Which all these are another way for all those to get flipped over. So that's what you're using the commodities for. Another thing you could use commodities for is you could come down here, and if you have 3 energy, you can make your guys 2 dumber and you get another worker. This one is 3 water, and then you get 2 more morale, which basically makes your hand size bigger to hold more artifacts. Like right now, I can hold 1 artifact, but it can go up higher to where I can hold more artifacts. But I can also get another worker. So commodities get turned into resources. What you use the resources for is to open up these other markets. And right now I know there's more stuff you can do up here with commodities and resources, but I'm just talking about the main part of the game here. So in order to get these other markets open, you would have to place a worker on one of these spots. And it goes by the number of players there are. So if I wanted to open this market up, I could pay a gold or a clay to open this market up. The problem is it has to be 3 in order to open that market up. So if I place there and pay a gold, and then later the white player places there and takes the clay, and then I on my next turn pay a gold, now that market opens up, we flip it over. It is basically, whoever contributed to it gets to put one of their stars, as I just realized I didn't grab mine yet. But whoever placed there gets to place one of their stars, whoever helped open the market, I should say, places one of their stars there. And the winner of the game is the person who gets all of their stars down. Sorry, I keep calling them stars. I'm used to it. It's authority tokens. I'm sure I'll mix that up throughout the whole game, but yes. So that's one way to get your authority token down. Also, if you are not one of the factions that contributed to opening the market, there's a penalty on each market. So that's the reason when you put your star down, it's going to put your star down there saying that you opened that market, and if your star isn't there, you would get a penalty for not contributing to opening that market. One of the last spaces you can place on are these three, which are also other market spots in a way. In here, it's saying that on each of them, you would pay 3 artifacts, or anytime you see this symbol, it means you can pay 2 of the same artifact in place of it, and so you would pay 3 artifacts or 2 of the same, place a dice there, you get to place a star, and you go up on that faction's allegiance track, or that faction's allegiance track goes up. The star can be placed on one of these, so that can make it to where you stop getting that penalty, or it can be placed on one of these for each of them, as it's giving them more control. So that's another way to place down authority tokens. All right, I think that covers all the spaces here. We're gonna move up to the Icarites. They're basically all the same. The only difference is they already start with some markets already open, because we've already talked about the mines, the cloud mines, and we've talked about basically how the wind saloon works, because it does the same thing. It lets you just put a star over here. We'll just go through the 3 spots here. So one of them is you can turn any 3 resources. You can put a dice here, pay any 3 resources. So yeah, they get to move up on the Icarite thing, allegiance, and then you get to put a star over here in the territory. This one is pay any commodity, 1 bliss, put a dice, and you go up on the Icarite allegiance, and you get 2 artifacts. Pay any commodity, 1 bliss, and a dice, Icarite allegiance, and you get any 2 resources. So that's all the worker placement spots. Really all that's left now is how do you get your workers back? So on your turn, you're either going to be placing one of your workers down on the board, or you can choose to retrieve any or all workers. But when you do, so I can take 1, 2, 3, it's up to me how many I want to take off the board. But when I do, I either have to lose a morale, or I can pay a food or bliss, but then I gain 2 morale. And as we said, morale is how many artifacts you can hold in your hand. So it looks like it's a game of basically get commodities to turn into resources, to get artifacts, use resources and artifacts to basically gain more territory and put down more authority. Forgot to put these on the board. When those mines are completed, oh, I'm just an idiot and placed on the wrong, no, I did. Placed that one on the wrong spot. There we go. All right. So once they have completed and hit the end on these will be removed, and now a worker can be placed on these. So in this case, if this mine gets finished, you can place here to get 3 energy, 3 water, 3 food. And the one thing I didn't talk about is actually on these spots and these spots. I know it might be kind of hard to make out on the camera, but on the right side, they have a little arrow on them, because what that is saying is if I have a worker placed there, me or if somebody else wanted to can place on there also, and it just returns that worker to that person. And anytime your worker is returned to you, you get to re-roll the dice to see how smart they are. All right, I guess we'll get to this. I'm sure, like I said, it's going to be rough since I've never played it, but I think I kind of get the gist of it. We'll try to pop through it quickly here. All right, right off the bat, I get to go first. Well, actually, we need to roll everything. So I roll my dice. You get a 1 and a 2, so I got some really dumb workers, which is nice because then when I send them to go work for people, they'll be happy I gave them a dumb drone. All right, and white. And they, with the Atama, they just start out with all 4 of their workers, and they don't get resources and stuff, just like most Atamas. They just are gonna be, I'm assuming just like in most Atamas, pushing the end game, and then I gotta see if they're gonna be pushing to the end game, getting their stars down, and I just gotta see if I can get my stars down faster than they can get theirs. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to do with the Atama is we place this over. I'm assuming this is gonna be something like Gaia Project, where right now this does nothing, but we're gonna be flipping another card over right and taking this space, and that's gonna denote what they do. And that's why normally I would play the black, but I figured it's just easier. I was gonna just put red in and go, okay, well they're black, it's just really red. But yeah, it's a black and white player, so that's what they did it. I realized there's one thing I didn't talk about. It has to do with when you roll your dice with the workers. We'll talk about that whenever I actually roll the first time and take my workers back. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and send this 1 dumb worker to the aquifer. And since it's a 1, we get what's in the 1 to 4 range. So we get a water, which I am using my resources from Stonemeyer Games. I'm gonna use this water bucket for my water. It is a commodity. To have the subterraneans go up, since I don't really care whether it's the subterraneans, wastelanders, or euphorians, since I am working with an Icarite, it feels good to go up with the subterranean. That way I'm not helping them, I'm hoping. All right, now we get to try out the Atama and see how it works. The Atama. So we're supposed to put it just like that. So we put them next to each other, and what this shows is, this is showing what the black worker is going to do and what the white worker is going to do. And then if there was stuff up in these boxes, we'd be doing other things. In this case, they are going to place workers instead of retrieving workers because they have workers. The only time they would retrieve workers is if they did not have any. So in the case with the black worker, so it's saying for the black worker, it's going to place on the commodity spot that would give allegiance to its faction. And in this case, since it does that, it's going to do the lowest worker it has, which is a 1. So it's going to place on the commodity spot for the wastelanders. So it places here for the food, and that's it. It's just there to place. They do not get resources or do anything else. Here it said wastelander. I was for some reason saying it's because of his thing. No, it's just he happens to just be doing it for the wastelanders because it says, and it happens to be his faction. But with the white worker, it's going to, that's what this symbol means. It means it's going to do whatever faction it actually is. So in this case, it's going to place its lowest worker on the commodity that it is trying to get allegiance for, which would be the Euphorians. And then that's the Atama's turn. So we go back to my turn. Sorry, I just realized I forgot to place these down. And what they are is when these spots are hit, they are going to add stuff that makes spots better. So I'm going to take my other dumb worker, the 2, and I'm going to place him on the aquifer, which is going to give me another water. And it's going to move the allegiance track up, which activates this thing. And what this thing does is it goes over here next to the aquifer, because what it lets me know is anytime you use the aquifer, you get an additional water. All right, we go back to the Atama, and the way the Atama works is it discards this card, moves this one over, and then we flip over the next card and see what they do. And this seems pretty easy. The black worker, since these are vacant, we just go straight to their actions. Black worker is going to place its lowest dice its dumbest worker on the commodity for the Subterrans. So they would place here. Man, why couldn't you have placed that earlier? He would normally get water, they don't, but it does move up the allegiance on there. So he's going to take one of his 5s and he's going to go to the tunnel that meets his faction, which is the Euphorians. So he places there. They don't need resources, so that means it's just going to happen automatically. They don't gain resources. So I didn't explain it, but basically anytime when it's showing this for the Automa, it's always going to place its lowest worker. Any other time, it's always going to place whatever its smartest worker is. So in the case when this happened, it had 2 5s, it used one of its 5s. It placed there and moved this guy down the track. And then that is the Automa's turn. So for my turn, I don't have any workers, so I'm going to take my workers back. In order to do that, I have to pay a food or a bliss or lose a morale. I choose to lose a morale. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, your morale can't go lower than 1, but you can do this in the case. So I will just keep it at 1 and take back both my workers. So I got 1 really dumb worker and 1 moderately intelligent worker. All right. We go to the bot's turn. The Automa. All right, we do have a symbol that showed up, but I think this is only if it's here in the middle. It is. So next turn we'll have something new that'll happen. But for now, the black is going to take its lowest worker, which is a 4. It's going to place it on the commodity that is its faction. So it's going to place on the Wastelands territory. So I just realized when I placed here, it should have gone up 1 on the allegiance track. And then when it initially placed this one, it should have gone up once on this allegiance track. Now it would go here, it would get food, which it doesn't take, and it doesn't have knowledge, so it doesn't lose knowledge. So it does nothing but just placing there. The white is going to take its lowest, since it is a commodity, and it's going to place on the Euphorian territory generator. And it doesn't get resources or lose knowledge. And I think in the same regards where I forgot to do these, I don't know why I did this. Guess I was distracted. But here, it shouldn't have went up another allegiance. It should have just been the 1 and 2 where I moved up the allegiance. I'm going to send my dumbest worker over here to the aquifer. And that should give it to where I get, since it's now equal to 5, I should get a water. And then I should lose an intelligence also for my workers as they become dumber. All right, we go to the Automas. Oh, I should have got an extra water because of the allegiance factor. All right, we go to the Automa. And now since we have that symbol there, let's look it up. This symbol is only if they're retrieving workers this turn, which they might. So if they're retrieving workers, then what this does is they will leave behind their highest worker. So it says here that they will retrieve workers when 0 are left or 1 left and either of the above actions are selected. They're both doing those, so that means in this case, all they're doing this turn is they're going to retrieve their workers. And then, since that symbol is showing and they're retrieving workers, and it's in this middle area, it means they're going to leave behind their highest knowledge worker on any commodity area of a non-Automa faction. So in this case, what it's saying is, since it's retrieving its workers, and black is a wasteland faction, it retrieves these workers, but it's going to leave this one its highest because it is not the same faction as that Automa. In this case, white's going to retrieve its workers, but it will only retrieve non-workers that are not in the Euphorian territory. In this case, it'll retrieve both of its workers. Oh, and this. Because it's only ones left in the commodity area. And that is the Automa's turn. I'm going to go ahead and place my intelligent worker over here. Pay to 3 water. I get another worker, and I get the 2 morale up. So 2 morale up. Alright, so we get rid of this Atama card, move this one over. Do the last one. Black is going to take its dumbest worker, which is a 3, and it's going to place it on its faction at the wasteland. When it placed there, it doesn't get the food, but it does move up the wasteland, which makes it when you place here, you get an extra food. The white is going to place on the... Alright, he's going to place on the wasteland tunnel with his highest, which will move this. So I realized something I did wrong earlier. And it's just the lowest workers are only when they are placing at their commodity. So when this guy placed, it would have been his higher worker. But now I know. It's a learning experience. And I'm going to start doing this so that I know I already did it, just in case I have to come back. So these are already discarded. I'm going to go ahead and use my dumb worker, send him down here to work at the aquifer. This adds to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means I gain a water, 2 water, and make all my workers 1 dumber. And make them 1 dumber. Alright, deck is empty, so we have to take this one. We're going to mix up all those cards, and then one of the decks that I already had ready to go, and make a new deck and see what they do for this turn. Alright, that's ready to go. I'm going to make one change before I have any game state change. All it is, I'm going to take this dumb worker. I'm going to put the dumb worker instead over here at the farm so that I get 2 food instead of 2 water. So 2 food instead of 2 water. Other than that, it wouldn't have changed anything. Just wanted to do it before the game state changed. It was just something I happened to notice as I was shuffling up the deck. Alright, so now we flip this over to be the new support card. And we see what actually happens as the action card. Okay, since this does this and this is here and is present, what this is saying is that one of these cards and is showing this 3rd one, so the 3rd artifact will disappear. Alright, the black Atama is going to take its worker and it goes to its faction. So since it's going to its faction, it takes its lowest worker, which they're the same, so it doesn't matter. So it places here, which is going to make it 10, which would give it doesn't get food and doesn't knowledge, just placing the worker is all it's doing. The white worker is going to place, since it's going to Icarai, it's going to do the mines, but since it's going to the Icarite territory, it means it's going to go to the action that gives it the 2 resources. So it is placing here, and since it is placing there, it doesn't have to pay the resources or commodity, it doesn't gain any resources, but it does move up the Icarite allegiance. And then that is the turn, and that is the turn for Atama. I'm just going to pick up my workers. I'm not going to pay the food or the morale or the bliss, so I'm going to lose 1 morale, but I get to pick up all the workers I want to pick up. So I lose 1 morale, but get my workers back. And in this case, this is where I talk about how stupid your workers need to be. I roll these dice and I add the number that I'm at. Right now I'm at +1 to whatever I roll. If I get a 16 or higher on all the dice, then what ends up happening is I have to get rid of 1 worker. $11, $12, $13 plus 1 is 14, so I am safe. So we go to the Atama's turn. He flips over a card. Place it there. This only matters if they're picking up this turn. In this case, it is going to have an effect because black is picking up because this is the symbol of the action that black would do. And since black is picking up, and it only has one. So in this case, it would pick up. So in this case, it will pick up these two workers because this is its faction, but it will not pick up the worker from the Subterran area because it leaves it there and it's not its faction. White will place on a commodity. It's its faction, so it will take the lowest worker and place on the Euphorian territory, which will move the Euphorian allegiance up, making it more valuable to place on now. Alright, I'm going to take one of my workers. I think we're going to go ahead and try to get some Bliss up here, so we get a Bliss. And move up on the Icarite's allegiance, so that now all the commodity areas provide extra commodities. So when this comes up, it means it's going to place on trying to build a market, and it's going to be in the wastelands. So it takes its biggest worker, and in this case, it looks at the wastelands. It sees if there's any to fill in. There are not. So it goes to the most bottom. So it places there. The white player is going to pick up. Normally, it would not pick up unless there was 0, but because it is that marker, it means it picks up. So it's going to pick up from everywhere. He got some real dummies. I'm going to place my worker on the Wastelander tunnel here and pay a food, which moves the miner one space. And because of Yusef the tunneler, I actually get, instead of just choosing what I want, I get both. So I get a brick and I get an artifact. I will take the teddy bear artifact. I'm just going to move all these down. And there's my brick, my first resource. Alright, Atama's turn. Commodity at the Icarite spot. Doesn't get commodity and doesn't go down in intelligence. White worker. It is going to place, white is going to place on the Euphorian tunnel. Alright, send my worker over here to the Wastelander tunnel. Pay my food. Get an artifact. Might have messed this up earlier, but it only, I think it was there, but it only doesn't pick up all of its workers if this thing is there. So in this case, black would pick up its workers, so it's picking up everybody except for at the construction sites. Just realized I forgot to refill the market. I'll go ahead and place here. I'm gonna go ahead and place here. Spin the brick. That since there's 3 players, it means only 2 people need to be on this. So we got the Concert Hall of Harmonious Discord. We each get to put a marker on there, an authority token. The white did not contribute, so the white player gets a penalizing marker now. What happens is when it re-rolls its dice, if it gets 6s, they go over here. And they stay there until it can basically get the action, which will allow it to be able to add an authority token to the spot. We get our workers back. Then it goes to the to the Automa again. Black player is going to take its biggest worker and mine. So what happens when that comes up is there's actually a chart here, and I'm actually going down it right now. I think it's this third row, artifact and constructed market, where it has a penalizing marker, which it does. It has a penalized market for not contributing to the wasteland one over there. I think I'm doing this right. I may be wrong. I think he places here. Doesn't have to give anything because they don't have those. And the star, he gets to place on here so he's not penalized anymore. And it is going to move the wasteland up. May have done that right. I don't know. I have to go back and look. That's the way I'm reading it on here, is it's saying where he has a penalized market. So I think that's how it works. Alright, I'm going to place my dumb little worker up here. Adds up to 3, so I get 2 Bliss and move up on the Icarite allegiance. Black's going to place its lowest worker on the wasteland market. White is going to pick up, so it'll pick up all of its workers. I'm going to go ahead and place over on the generator so that I can get 2 energy. Doesn't lower my intelligence anymore, but alright, so they are going to both place on the wastelands. Black because it is their faction, and white because it says. Since it is Black's faction, they're going to place their lowest, and the white is going to place their highest. Black placed their lowest first, which is going to be enough for the wasteland to go up. White will place on there, and it will do nothing other than just placing it on there. And then now the Wastelander Tunnel offers where you get both when you place on there. Alright, I'm going to pick up all my workers. I'm going to pay a Bliss so that I gain the 2 morale. And let's get our workers. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We are okay. All right. Automa's turn. They get rid of the 4th artifact. All right, so Black is going to place on the lowest market in the Subterran. This is another one of those questionable ones I think I'm going to be doing right because it's the first time, but we'll see. I believe this is saying that it goes to look at the Euphorian and it's going to place on this market here, which means it gets to place an authority star here and move up one on the Euphorian territory or allegiance. Actually, I think in this case I'm wrong. I do not think it places here. If I'm reading the book right, it's going to go ahead, even though it's saying on there that it's going to do the Euphorian, I think in this case it's going to go finish this construction here, which I'm not happy with, but pretty sure that's what it's going to do. Which really sucks because I was about to place there and finish that. But I'm pretty sure that's how I read that. As much as I don't want to finish it that way, I'm pretty sure that's how it reads. So in this case, I don't want to be stuck with that penalty, which I guess I should have mentioned. This one didn't affect me but this one will. It says I can't place workers if I have 2 or more on the board. Right now it doesn't affect me, but it can down the road. So I think I'm going to just try to figure out a way to unfortunately finish that one off. So I'm going to place my worker here, spend a water, and because of Yusef the tunneler, I get both. So I'm going to get, well, I'm going to move him 1, but it's going to give me an ore, and I get to take an artifact. Or not an ore, but stone, I'm assuming. And I will take the bear, so that gives me 2 bears. Go to this. Black will pick up its workers, but it will leave any on any spots that, which is none of them. It's going to pick up all of them. White will not pick up its worker. Instead, it's going to place on the Euphorian commodity. And since it is its commodity, place its lowest, which is going to move this up, making that tunnel more valuable and useful. And they will get a reshuffle and get some more of the hard cards mixed in. I want to make sure I have one of every resource, that way I don't get knocked out of those markets again. Oh, I never refilled the market. Don't think this is going to change my mind any. Oh, my choice is easy, because if I don't place to take care of this now and add a star here, I won't be able to place on the next turn anyways because of the penalty from the Bureau of Restricted Tourism. So we are going to go ahead and place. We'll place the 4. And this says I have to get rid of 3 artifacts or 2 of the same. I have 2 bears here, so we will get rid of 2 of the teddy bears. I get to place an authority token, and it moves this up 1. All right, so now we're going to do a reshuffle here for the Atama. Mixing these in. All right, so we flip over to support card. We flip over to see what the action is. So it seems like the harder means they're going to start hitting those construction sites fast. I think they just knocked me out of another one. What a pain in the butt. Because I'm pretty sure what this is saying is he's going to take his biggest worker and place it on the wasteland, unconstructed one. And he's going to take his biggest worker. And it says his faction, but under the chart, it hits the top of it, which says there is markets under construction, which there is. So he's going to just finish this one out, which is going to move this over. They're each going to get a star there. They get their workers back. And the penalty says I can't place any stars on any empty territories. These are the territories. It's not a bad one, but I don't like it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and place this one over here on the Euphoria tunnel. Pay the energy. I was gonna use these for the energy markers, but I just couldn't resist using a lightning bolt for the energy markers. All right, so I gain a gold and a artifact. I will take the book for the artifact. And I get a gold. So now I have at least one of each resource, even though they kind of blocked me out of that last one. Guess my turn's pretty easy, as I have to pick up. I'll pay the Bliss so that my morale goes back up. Pick up my workers. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, so I'm okay. This goes up by 2, so I'm at max. So he's going to place on the Icarite. So he places there, which is going to do nothing. It's going to tunnel the Euphoria. Don't like it, but I'm going to place on the Cloud Mine. It's 10. I get 3 Bliss, and my guy's knowledge goes up. Black's gonna mine on the Wastelander tunnel. White only has 1 left, so since it's doing that, that means it will pick up. It will leave it on the Wastelander tunnel because that marker is there, but it will pick up the rest. I'm actually going to place here, pay my Bliss, and I'll pay, it says a commodity, so I'll do another Bliss. It's going to move this up 1 on the Allegiance for the Icarites, and now I get 2 artifacts. I'm going to go ahead and take the balloons. This all moves down, and then I'm going to take the book, and then this all moves down. Black is going to place on the Wastelands. 6 does nothing. White is going to place on the Euphoria, which is going to move the Euphoria up 1. I'm going to place 1 here. Pay 2 of the same resource. So 2 books. Which lets me put down an authority star, our token, but it is going to move up the Wasteland Allegiance. Black will pick up. It will leave on any markets that it doesn't, but that's none of them, so, oh no, yep. It'll leave on the Cloud Mine. Man, he needs to get off my Cloud Mines. And then White is going to mine on the Wasteland. I have to pick up. I am just going to let my morale go down by 1. Actually, Still going to pick up. I'm just debating. Can't remember if he was a 5 or a 4. I don't think it makes a difference. I'm pretty sure it was the 4. I kind of want to leave him up there because I don't want to take a chance when I'm rolling to have that 16. Yeah, I'm planning on placing up there again anyway, so I'm going to leave that one up there and only roll these 2. So 7, 8, 9. So I could have done it and been okay, but I didn't know, and if I'm going to use a spot anyways, might as well. All right. Black is going to place on the Wasteland, which is its own thing. 7 does nothing. White is going to pick up because it only has 1 left. It will leave the 1 on here. Oh, no, it won't. That thing's not there anymore. So it picks up all of them. Go ahead and place here, which replaces him. I'm going to spend double Bliss, and then I'll get 2 artifacts and move up on the Icarite thing. So the Icarite thing moves up. I think this just adds on to here where you get an artifact anytime you place on an Icarite territory, which is cool for me because that's what I'm planning on trying to do this turn. All right, so we have to get rid of the 2 Bliss and get my worker back and get 2 artifacts now. I'll take the free ones. I'll take a bear. And I'll take a balloon. All right, so black is going to go down the subterranean tunnel. So it's going to take this guy and place it at the bottom of this market. I might change my turn because now I'm worried they might knock me out of another one. So guess I need to go use a resource there. So yep, I'm going to send my guy over here and contribute with the gold. While I'm over here, we already know it's going to get this and this, and black will be penalized. As we reveal the carousel, if I wouldn't have done this, the knowledge tests have a threshold of 14 instead of 16. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. All right, we get these workers. Alright, goes back to the Otama's turn. They get rid of the balloons. My balloons! Oh, actually, they might have just now knocked me out of another one. So black's going to place on an unconstructed market. Yep, they did. I hate them. Yep. That happens. They finish constructing that. So the penalty that's going to affect me now is I can only gain artifacts of a kind I don't already have. Yeah, we're going to have to fix that. All right, I'm going to place here. I'm going to pay my 2 balloons. To put an authority token down. Go up on the Euphorian track. They get rid of the book. Because they're right there. Black would pick up and it's going to leave on any markets that's, oh my god, it needs to get off my cloud mine. Alright, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been doing this one wrong. always confused by it, but pretty sure what this is he's going to place on, it says, all artifact markets. I think in this case, see, I want to say it goes here, but it's not constructing, so I might have been doing that one wrong. I think this one, it's going to go to Euphoria. I'm just going to let it place another star in the territory, or place a star in the territory, and go up on the Euphoria track. We'll place on the Cloud Mine. It'll give me 2 Bliss, and get to move my knowledge down 1. It's going to put down here. And then it's going to mine on the Euphoria. A Euphorian territory, I guess. We'll place on here. Spin my stone. Let's just finish this. If I wouldn't have done that, the penalty was after rolling workers, treat each worker that rolled 1 or 2 as 3s during the knowledge check. Ugh. So that re-roll, those roll. We each get an authority token there. Now Euphoria, or Euphorian, has a penalty. Gets rid of the baseball bat. Place its lowest worker on the Icarite. 5, 6, 7, 8. So does nothing. Mines on the Euphorian. I'll place up here. I'm going to use 2 Bliss. Move this up 1 on the Icarite territory. Get 2 artifacts. So I'll go ahead and take the bear. I don't really care, so I'll just take the book. Yeah, I guess I chose wrong. I should have taken the other board game. But gotta just pay my 2 Bliss. It's gonna get rid of the board game because of the spot over here. Refill. Black is going to place on, I guess I misunderstood earlier. I guess I could have placed, when I was doing this, I thought this star could only go to the territory, but I guess you can place it on that. Probably should have done that because I only had 1 book. I think I ended up paying 2. Because according to this chart, because he is penalized on this one, he will place on the penalized market that he is penalized on. The market that he is penalized at is here. So it tells me to place on there, and then it says he's going to place his star on the penalized market.
That would be great because it also lets you draw.
Which will unpenalize him. Place my worker over here. Turn into 2 teddy bears. 2. Place an authority token on the territory, which is going to gain me an artifact. So I'll take the glasses. And move up on the territory, or in the allegiance. And now I'm out of workers, so we know what we're doing on my next turn. Oh, you know what? Did I do whites? I don't think I did that. I think, yeah, I just did that. I did not do White's action, which would have been placing on the Euphoria generator, which would have moved this up again. Gonna get rid of the teddy bear. And then black is going to pick up because it only has one left, and it's that thing. It's gonna leave once again on the cloud mine. No, it's not. I just keep forgetting that's only when that's there. I'm sure I've been messing this up a lot, but as is the first time when playing games, yes, he finally got off of my cloud mine. Odds are he'll end up placing there again before I get a chance to do anything. All right. He only has one left, so he's going to pick up also. I have to pick up also. I'll pay the 1 morale. Once again, I keep doing that, but I'm going to go ahead and leave him there. I'm planning on hitting that spot again anyways. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, that was my turn picking up, so the Atama goes. Oh my goodness. He just seems to keep doing that. Gotta love it. Place is there. At least I'm gonna move it up myself, which will trigger my guy to... Now, I may pay 1 less commodity than shown on the bazaar to get artifacts. And then white is going to place on the U4 in 1, which will move that up, which I believe allows him to put a star down. Forgot when I rolled this 6, that actually would have been penalized. That would have gone over there. It stays there until he picks up again. Oh, crud. There's something I missed. When this and this were hit, they each would have got to put down one of their stars down over here. And then now, since it hit the end here, it gets to place another one. I'm actually going to place the 6 here, have 9, I get 3, but my knowledge is going to go up. Now black is going to place on the wasteland, moving the wasteland up another one. White is going to mine in the subterranean. Going to place a worker here to pay 2 Bliss to go up on the Icarite faction and get 2 artifacts. I'll take the board game. And the baseball bat. I don't have to pay this because of my Ahmed, the artifact dealer. Oh, well, forgot that I am limited to only 4. So I'll get rid of something. I will get rid of the glasses. There's my 2 Bliss I had to pay. And then the worker I get back. And then this reshuffles. All right, let's see what the Atama does. We're getting right up here to the end. I think this one I'm gonna do wrong because it says markets. I think he'd place on the Icarite, and since it's a territory, I would assume he'd place there even though it's not the market, that's the artifact thing. But see, these are the markets, so I would think he'd place on one of those. I'm sure I'm reading it wrong, and I'm not going to go look it up. If I do it wrong, oh well. I mean, all it's going to do is just give them a point and kind of block me from doing something I want to do. It's saying a market in the Icarite. I'm going to say it's the first one, much as I would love to get my dice back. I'm going to assume he's placing there, which is moving this up, which is placing a star here. Oh, realize I just grabbed. It should be the biggest number. White is picking up. It's not saving them anywhere. Here, 6 goes over here because it's still penalized. I'm going to place here. I'm going to get rid of these 3 instead of the 2 board games. I'm saving that because next turn I could do this to get another star put down. So we're going to get rid of these 3. I get to place a star here. It's going to bring up the Icarite Allegiance, which when it hits the end, we get to place an authority token on each of those. That goes to their turn. Oh, when I placed there, I actually got a free artifact. I'll take the baseball bat here. Well, that, because I would have chosen that just thinking that there was a lot in there before I would have known that he's just going to get rid of the other baseball bat, which sucks because I could have tried to get that second one. All right. He's placing on a market in the wasteland, so one of these. It says the bottom most open, so it'd be that one, which is going to move the wasteland allegiance up. Let him place another star, and it's going to be in the territory. White is going to use the artifact for its area. It will place it here. And it will place, no. It would not. It actually would go and get rid of the one where it's got this penalty. So it gets rid of the penalty. And then it's going to move this up 1. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead, turn in the board game. The viticulture board game. And I'm going to choose to make my workers toil for the rest of their lives, which lets me put this on here. I mean, I could have just done any 2 artifacts too, so if I wouldn't have had the board game, so I guess it didn't matter what the choice was I made. I just do that. And that ends the game. I've got all 10 of my authorities down, which means I win. But it was pretty close. He was getting his down, but like I said, I might have missed 1 or 2 here and there. But I'll do the editing and see where I messed up. All in all, I thought it was a pretty cool little game. I'd like to play it with players. Maybe even throw the Automa in with the players just to see what it does. Definitely want to see what more of the recruits do and whatnot. But we built a better dystopian universe, and we proved that ignorance is indeed bliss. But yeah, so it was cool, and we'll definitely have to do this again. I'll watch and see. Like I said, I had a few little wonkiness with the construction areas and whatnot. But I like these ones where you can throw them in with another player. Yeah, definitely want to try it with all the different recruits and everything. But all right, thank you for watching and have a great day.